With all thinning, the sooner you can lessen the crop load on the tree, the greater the advantage. The longer one takes to thin, the less the advantage. Cell division takes place in approximately the first 40 days of the fruit's life, starting at full blossom and then continuing for approximately 40 days. After that time, cell division stops and you can only get cell enlargement. So the best situation is to finish thinning before cell division has stopped. If the excess crop load is taken off while the cells are dividing, each remaining fruit will develop more cells. After cell division, thinning will only increase the size of each cell. Thinning is done to improve the fruit size of the remaining fruit and to avoid alternate bearing. If we put a very heavy crop on the tree this year, it may take a rest next year and bear a light crop. Let's have a look at peach and nectarine thinning first. There are formulae available to tell farmers what the ideal crop loads are for different types and cultivars of peach and nectarine. It is worked out on the number of peaches or nectarines per centimetre trunk circumference and is usually between 6 and 15 fruit per centimetre trunk circumference. So one would leave the optimum number of fruit on the tree and remove the rest. On some varieties of peaches and nectarines, blossom thinning is done. The main fruit thinning activity for peaches and apricots is done by hand. Peaches and nectarines only crop on 1-year-old wood. Having identified the bearing units, one will leave 3 fruit on the very long bearing units, 2 fruit on the long bearing units, 1 fruit on the short bearing units, and the very short shoots will have all the fruit removed. Always retain the largest fruit on the bearing unit. There is no chemical thinning done to peaches and nectarines. Now let's get to plums. There is no blossom thinning done for plums. Some plum varieties self-thin, others need a lot of thinning. Again, the earlier the plum tree is thinned, the better. Once again, the numbers are determined by the number of fruit per trunk circumference. You will have many fruit growing from the same flower cluster. The object is to try to leave only 1 fruit per cluster. On heavy-setting cultivars, the fruit is spaced to 1 fruit every 6 to 10 centimeters. Whereas on varieties that size well and do not need a great deal of thinning, like Songold and Letitia, one normally just breaks up clusters and ensures that the fruit hang free from each other and will not push each other off. Keep the best quality fruit, keep the largest fruit, and space the fruit to achieve the numbers determined according to the thinning recipe. Apricot thinning is very similar to peaches and nectarines, but is done a little later. Apricots tend to have an October or November drop, where the tree sheds fruit that was not fertilized properly or that the tree feels is surplus. So you don't want to thin before this natural fruit drop has occurred. Wait for the fruit to reach about 20 millimeters in size. If you want 30 tons per hectare and you have 1,000 trees per hectare, you would aim to get 330 fruit per tree. Using a safety factor of 10% would leave between 350 and 400 fruit per tree. Apricot thinning should be completed before pit hardening. As soon as the pit of a stone fruit becomes hard, cell division has stopped. Industry is currently evaluating mechanical thinning machines and preliminary results are very promising. Some of the machines only work on fruit that are trained to a fruiting wall, which means that you can't have uneven tree structures. Some other machines may be more versatile. However, the orchard floor must be reasonably flat for any thinning machine to operate efficiently. The advantages of using a mechanical thinning machine are that the fruit are up to 10% bigger because thinning is done earlier, and there is a labour saving of up to 60%. Mechanical thinners can be used for peaches, plums and nectarines. With all stone fruit thinning, the most important rule is to keep the large fruit on the tree. It doesn't really matter where they sit on the tree. Once a large fruit, always a large fruit. So remove the smaller fruit and leave the large ones on the tree.